Hi, welcome to Improve Work podcast. Here you'll find resources to level up your leadership role and create the team that you want. It's Daniela here. Feel free to ask me questions about today's episode's topic. Also, if you would like me to speak about a specific topic, let me know. You'll find my email address in the description of this episode. I hope you enjoy it and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. So, how often have you been in a situation in which you had to tell an employee to redo the work he or she has done? If you have employees whose quality of work is not at the level you expect, this blog post can help you. I know how frustrating this can be. You lose time, energy, and money because of this. Plus, this may affect the relationships with the clients and the company image, isn't it? So let's dive deeper in this subject and find ways in which you can overcome the situations that lead to low quality work. First, find out why those employees are doing a poor job. It's possible that they have different quality standards. If they are new to the company, they may bring with them quality standards from previous jobs or from previous supervisors. 2. They may not know the quality standards that you expect from them. 3. They may not realize how important are for you certain aspects related to quality. They may consider them unimportant and therefore don't pay attention to them. 4. They may not know how to achieve the standards you set for them. 5. They may be disorganized. 6. They may be distressed or without focus. 7. They may be unmotivated to achieve the quality standards. One person's reasons or causes for poor quality work may differ from another's. I mentioned above the typical cases, but there may be other cases too. Then, based on the causes you've identified as the source of low quality work, you can choose how you'll intervene to improve the quality of their work. Let's see the first and the second case when the employee has different quality standards or doesn't know your quality standards. Quality work standards vary from one employer to another. What is good for one employer could be poor work for another one. Sometimes the employee doesn't even realize that his work is not considered quality work. So if you have a new employee in the company, be prepared to have discussions about work quality. Also, when an employee receives a new task that he didn't do before or has a new position, these kind of discussions may be necessary too until the work standards are well established and understood. Take the time to explain the employee how you want his work to look like. You can start from discussing the things that are not okay and telling him how he should have done those things and why. When he understands why it's important to pay attention to certain things, he is more likely to agree to do them than when he doesn't know why he should do them. Does this make sense to you? For example, if the employee has to prepare a certain report, the quality of his report will be evaluated based on the expectations of the person who requested the report. Furthermore, this person's expectations are based on the way he will use the report, based on its utility and how easy it is to use and understand the data from the report. If the employee knows by whom the report will be used and how it will be used, he will be more able to choose the proper language, choose what data to include, choose the report format. Even in the same company, the same report can be clear for one colleague with a similar position and be confusing for another one from a different department who needs more data and explanations to understand it. You can even pass over this phase explaining to the new employee from the beginning, before he even starts to do certain tasks, what the expected results are, to what aspects to pay attention, and what good quality work means to you. In this way, you'll save time and avoid those mistakes that can be eliminated from the start. Often it's not bad will or lack of competencies that lead to poor quality work, but just not knowing the expectations. Yes, it will take you a little time and patience to do this, but not so much time as to repair what is not good, isn't it? In the third case, when the employee doesn't realize how important are certain requirements related to work quality, or he just doesn't consider them important. This is the situations in which you already explain to the employee how his work should look like and what you expect, but he doesn't follow all the requirements, even though it's not that he doesn't know how. Ask the employee why he didn't accomplish those requirements. If his arguments are accepted by you, then you may have to change the requirements. If are just poor excuses, just repeat the requirements that weren't met and explain again why these are important. Obtain the employee agreement that next time he will accomplish them. If he agrees to do them, you are a step forward because he committed himself to this. We are now at the fourth situation, when the employee doesn't know how to achieve the quality standards you set for him. If this is the case, it's not only a discussion about quality work, but also about the employee's capabilities to perform his work. For example, an engineer could make wrong calculations, not because he was inattentive, but because he doesn't know how to do those calculations right. An accountant can mess up a report not because he was distracted or inattentive, but because he doesn't know how to do it right. So the solutions are directed towards how his capabilities can be improved. You could help him yourself, assign him a mentor, or give him a training, etc. The fifth situation, when the employee is disorganized. If poor quality work is caused by the fact that the employee is disorganized and messes up meetings, documents, data, or other things related to his work, then he should be helped to become more organized. We can establish with him things like how his work has to be saved, in which locations has to be saved, how the documents format will be, how to organize the documents with which he is working on computer or physically, how to keep track of his own work, how to keep track of the meetings he has or of the task he has to do at a particular time. We are now at the sixth situation, when the employee is distracted or without focus. Lack of focus and distraction can be caused by the working environment. For example, when an employee works in an office along with other colleagues and they often talk loudly about work tasks or personal topics, he may be disturbed by these discussions. How often did you lose your work pace and your attention because of other people's conversations? When our attention is distributed in many places, voluntary or involuntary, mistakes are more likely to occur. What you could do in this case is to improve the working environment. You could ask the employee to discuss the working topics that require more time in a separate space, for example in a meeting room, so they don't disturb their colleagues. Another reason to ask them to do this is that some discussions don't have to be known or held in front of other colleagues. Ask them to lower their voice for discussions that are short. For informal discussions, they can take breaks and go in spaces where they don't disturb others, such as lunchroom or lobby. When the employee is overloaded, his work quality will decrease. Because he has to do a lot of tasks in a limited period of time, he may speed up things up, pass over some steps, or to do them superficially. Too many tasks can also generate stress and mental blocks. If these are exceptional situations, for example when an employee has to cover another colleague who is on vacation, you may let things as they are, understanding the employee's reasons and the fact that it's a temporary situation. But if his schedule is always overloaded, you need to reorganize his task. You could let him delegate some of his tasks or assign this to another employee. Sometimes the cause of distress or lack of attention is outside the working space. It can be a family problem, a health problem, or other thing that is happening in the employee's life. Could be a happy event too. Preparing a wedding can distract the employee's attention from work. Here things get a little complicated. On one hand, you might feel compassion for the employee's situation if he has a problem, and on the other hand, you want him to do his job well. And you can't fix his personal problems. These are his business. If the quality of work is affected for a long period of time, some measures have to be taken so your business is protected. You may assign a person to check that employees work and correct what is wrong or do what is missing. At the same time, don't forget to keep a close track of his work results. These play a big role in decisions about granting performance bonuses, salary increases, or more drastic measures. At the same time, you may want to help the employee if you can, allowing flexible working hours, permission to leave if he needs to be somewhere else, accepting his request for time off, paid or unpaid, or other forms of help depending on the situation. This kind of help can make the employee to become loyal to the company because he was helped in a difficult time. On the other hand, keep in mind that other employees may ask for the same benefits that you've given to this employee because you've created a precedent. We are now at the seventh situation when the employee is not motivated to achieve high quality standards. What are the rewards that you give to those who achieve high quality standards? Do they know what these are? And are these compelling enough for them? These are some questions that will help you establish rewards for achieving high quality standards. Furthermore, what they will lose if they don't achieve high quality standards. If there are no consequences for performing a low quality work, the employee probably will not strive to work better. If there are consequences, but these are not important for the employee, his behavior may not change. Just as a country sustains its laws through real consequences for those who break them, in the same way, a company has to sustain its rules through some explicit constraints. In order for these constraints to work, the employee must to know about this, to know that these are for real, that they apply, to know that these apply to him as well, to matter to him, to want to avoid those consequences. Many times I have seen that the rules from internal regulations are not applied. These rules have no power if their violations don't lead to certain undesirable consequences. In cases of constantly low quality work, the consequences can be reflected in the performance evaluation results. Based on the evaluation results are taken decisions such as salary raises, promotions, granting for performance bonuses, continuation of work relations. If you don't have performance reviews, it will be hard for you to improve your employees' work quality. Also, in order for this to be effective, you may need to ensure that if you have employees who evaluate other employees, they do this correctly without favor somebody or without underestimating some people's results and contributions. When an employee evaluates another employee, personal interest may interfere. A leader who is an employee may be afraid that one of his team members is better than him and don't want to show or register in documents all the employee work. Unfortunately, these things happen, especially when the distance between the two roles is not so big. I'm not saying that it happens all the time, but it happens. And you need to have some controlling strategies to prevent this, like being present at the evaluation interviews, checking the employee work yourself, being in contact with the employee and discuss his work, asking the employee to include your email address in his emails at CC, or a 360-degree evaluation when the employee has the chance to give a feedback to his supervisor too. So, do you apply the above recommendations in your company? Do you find them helpful? Let me know. Okay, this was the blog post. Thank you for listening.